Let's rewind for a second. Let's just rewind for a second. Before the jerseys, the sponsors, team houses, private jets, esports used to be, well, 5 guys there in the basement with bad Wi-Fi, right? And somehow these basements turned into multi-million-dollar organizations. Welcome back to the Final Circle, the show where we unpack how gaming got serious and how passion projects to become global empires. Today we're diving into how esports teams evolved from ragtag lineups to legitimate global brands. Back in the early 2000s, right? There were no fancy setups, no salaries, no agents, just raw passion, cheap headsets, and one guy hosting screens on his cousin's server. Teams weren't organizations. They were just a group of friends with matching tags. You see names like XX, SMP, Squad XX, something like that, and yeah, that's a team. LAN parties were the team houses, right? Except instead of sponsors, everyone brought snacks and extension cords. The only prize was bragging rights, maybe a free mouse pad if the organizer was generous. But that's what made it pure. It was a love for the game, not money, that built the foundation of esports. Then came the turning point, when companies realized, wait, people are actually watching this? Streaming changed everything. YouTube, Twitch, even early Justin.tv, the real ones know. Suddenly gamers had audiences, and where there's an audience, there's money. And teams started branding up. Logos, jerseys, social media accounts, the whole 9 yards, everything. And sponsorships came in prize pools. Prize pools grew, and suddenly being a pro wasn't just a dream, it was really a career. We started seeing proper organizations from Fnatic, SK Gaming, Cloud9, TSM, Navi, turning competitive gaming into a structured business. That is what we have today. Managers replaced captains, contracts replaced handshakes, and the esports industry was born. And now the esports teams aren't just competing, they're brands. You've got teams signing lifestyle deals, releasing merch, collabs, partnering with rappers, even launching their own energy drinks. Teams like FaZe Clan blurred the line between esports and entertainment. They turned gaming orgs into culture hubs, influencers, fashion, music, the whole package. Meanwhile, teams like Team Liquid and Gen.G built serious business empires, global offices, academies, and investors straight out of Silicon Valley. It's wild when you think about it though. The same basement teams now have marketing divisions, talent rosters, some orgs even sign non-gamers just for brand synergy. And we've come a long way from LAN setups and Dorito crumbs, Or, in my own opinion, it was Lay's and Pringles. Big shout out to Lay's and Pringles, dog. But not everything's perfect, in an ideal world. As teams grow, they sometimes lose what makes them special. That raw, community-driven spirit. When investors step in, creativity can take a backseat to profit margins. We've seen teams expand too fast, chase trends, and forget their roots. The biggest challenge now is staying authentic. In a world where everybody's selling something, it's not easy balancing business with passion. And here's where things get kind of interesting, right? The next era of esports teams might not be about who wins the most tournaments. It's about who builds the strongest ecosystem. We're already seeing teams build academies, training apps, fantasy leagues, even NFT platforms. Some successful, some you already know. It's all about creating a full circle experience where the team isn't just something you watch, but something you belong to. In a few years, esports teams might look more like entertainment studios than gaming orgs, with divisions for streaming, content, tech, and even education. The line between team and brand is gone. Now it's about legacy, like what will you leave behind when you are done with this thing called esports? How will it run on its own? How will it sustain itself even when, sponsorships do not come through or those kinds of things? How will you keep it going? That's the question. So the next time you see a team host a trophy, remember, it all started in somebody's basement, on a second-hand PC with dreams louder than the fans in the chat. From small lands to sold-out arenas, from usernames to billion-dollar brands, esports teams didn't just evolve. They adapted, they expanded, and built an entire culture. So this is the final circle, where we remember that every brand, there was a group of gamers, who believed they could win. And that's just what makes esports how great it is to this day. So until then, catch you in the next episode, The Future of Esports.